Hi, this is Steve Showalter from the GreenLake Hybrid Cloud Business Development and Go-to-Market team. Today we're going to give you a brief overview of GreenLake Central. GreenLake Central is a single portal we're developing for our customers to be able to subscribe to and manage consumption-based offerings from HPE. As I log into GreenLake Central is a multi-tenant solution. So by default, as an HPE person, when I log into GreenLake Central, I start off in this HPE tenant, which doesn't have many resources. So the first thing we'll do is change tenant to a separate tenant that has some of our demo resources. When I log into GreenLake Central, it starts off as a blank palette. Various tiles and widgets appear on my palette that correspond to items that I've subscribed to and items that I have access to. So let's take a little bit deeper look at some of the capabilities that we offer through GreenLake Central. One of the first tiles of interest to a GreenLake customer is the monthly charges summary tile. This tile gives a customer an overview of what their GreenLake monthly charges have been for the resources that they've consumed over the past several months. This tile also gives customer the ability to drill down into the monthly charges to get a closer view in terms of what's going on either in the current month or in past billing months in terms of the resources that were consumed and used and how that was charged to their GreenLake bill. Another important element for any GreenLake customer is understanding how the capacity that they have on-prem relates to their utilization and how we project that forward over time to understand what environments may be at risk of running out of capacity. This particular tile bubbles up some of the highest priority items in terms of items that we think may run out of capacity over time, but it gives the customer the ability to change some of the parameters that we use to forecast that capacity out over time and begin a conversation with HPE to understand what are the resources that we have on-prem, what are they able to burst up into, and how might that need to change based on projected forward capacity and current utilization of their environment. The tool that we use to meter consumption for our GreenLake customers is Consumption Analytics, which has also been stitched into GreenLake Central. As you can see, it's a simple link launch from within GreenLake Central to get down to the full Consumption Analytics tool to be able to fully drill down into and understand what my costs are. So in this case, we'll switch to a different view that's a little bit more appropriate for this user. And I can start to drill down and take a look at what my GreenLake on-prem costs have been for this particular customer and understand where those costs have come from over time. So in this case, I've got some storage, some network and compute costs that I'm consuming on our GreenLake contract from HPE. Consumption Analytics lets me see and understand those costs. But once a customer has access to Consumption Analytics, they can also onboard their public cloud accounts for analysis. So in this case, customers onboarded their AWS accounts. We gather that data from AWS, and I can drill down to take a look at the individual compute instances that I have running, the database instances, and all the services I'm consuming from Amazon as a public cloud provider. In addition, this particular customer has some Azure accounts they've also onboarded to the environment as well. So just like AWS, we can pull those Azure costs in, give them great granularity into the individual components of the cost to be able to report on those costs, slice and dice those costs, and really give the customer a holistic cloud spend view across all their providers. In addition to be able to view those costs, there are several other important and valuable features built into Consumption Analytics for customers. One of those is budgets. So a customer can set a budget when they want to make sure they keep an eye on a particular spend, whether it's by application, by department, by region, or even for a particular provider. In this case, we've set a budget for a particular application, and we can keep an eye on that and be notified when that user goes over their spend for the budget for that particular application. Another powerful feature of Consumption Analytics is insights. Insights are things that Consumption Analytics keeps an eye on proactively for the customer. So rather than write reports and view reports to be able to make sure they're keeping an eye on a certain thing, Consumption Analytics will look at some of these things just out of the box by default and notify the customer when there are some issues that need to be looked at. So in this particular case, it's identified some underutilized VMs that we might want to go take a look at. So if I'm running very large, very expensive VMs in a public cloud that are running at low utilization, that represents an opportunity to maybe change that and recoup some costs within the public cloud environment. There's also some RDS instances, some EBS volumes, and some Elasticache instances that looks like are underutilized for this customer. Consumption Analytics Insights can also take a look at unusual changes within an environment. If my spend across a region has been very stable and then increased in the last billing cycle, it can bring that up to bear. Maybe show me product costs that have increased over time, show me outlier accounts that have changed differently from other similar types of accounts or other similar types of resources over the past month. And then finally, optimization opportunities within consumption analytics highlight things that we might be able to optimize to get better cost value from our providers across either internal GreenLake resources or public cloud resources. So consumption analytics provides a single place to understand and optimize customers' spend across their entire hybrid cloud landscape. Another service we've enabled through GreenLake Central is continuous compliance. Continuous compliance allows customers to monitor their government, regulatory, and best practices compliance with various frameworks that we build and apply to their environment. In this particular case, we can see this customer has applied 5 different frameworks to their environments, several government and regulatory frameworks, as well as some HPE best practice frameworks. Let's drill down into the Azure HPE best practice framework, take specifically a look at some of the encryption things that we want to take a look at as a part of this environment. We can see I've got several things that are passing, several things that are failing. As I drill into each particular rule, I get a better understanding of what the rule is, how passing or failing is determined for that rule, as well as very detailed ways or steps to be able to remediate that rule if I need to go remediate it. Most importantly, I also have visibility into which particular resources are passing or failing for that rule. So if I have things that need to be fixed, I can report those and give those to the appropriate folks to be able to go fix within my environment. Finally, I also have the ability to manage process rules. Process rules typically involve someone reviewing a document and deciding whether or not the document passes or fails that particular rule. If I'm the type of user that has the ability to do this, once I've reviewed the document, I can go upload a copy of the document, set an expiration date for the document, and then that makes that rule pass. Continuous compliance also lets me maintain a schedule of upcoming audits. So I know what particular audits I have upcoming, how many days until that audit, and how many rules I have that right now need to be fixed in order to be able to pass that audit when the auditors come and audit me on that particular framework. Continuous compliance has about 1,500 rules that we apply to various frameworks that get delivered as a part of the service. The final service we'll highlight today is HPE GreenLake Private Cloud. HPE GreenLake Private Cloud is a stack of hardware and software delivered to a customer's data center or co-location that the customer can provision and manage VMs into and then pay on consumption of that environment. Drilling down into the tile takes me to the console that I use to be able to lifecycle manage and provision VMs. We'll take a look at the instances that we have running, and then we'll provision a new instance to show you how simple this can be done. Provisioning and lifecycle managing of instances can be done through the GUI or is also available with an API. So as we can see, I've got several instances up and running within this environment. Let's add a new instance. So within this instance provisioning, I have the ability to organize instances in groups, which provides logical separation of VMs so that I'm ensured that departments can only see and manage the VMs that belong to them. I can name the instance. I can provide some tagging for the instance. That tagging flows up into consumption analytics for reporting. I can select a VM size based on pre-built sizes, or I can create my own custom sizes. Select which networks to connect to, how big the disk should be, how many disks should be attached, what the image should be, and I have some other information I can feed here as a part of the startup or an image creation process. I can schedule things to happen like snapshots of the VM itself. Here I get a chance to review the details I've provided and go ahead and kick off the initialization or the build of that VM. So this particular VM is a cloud init image. So once the image gets created and started up, it'll go through the cloud init procedure to finalize some of those details within the VM and getting up and running in my environment and connected to the resources in my environment that I need it to be connected to be able to be useful. Once the VM is up and running, it registers with Consumption Analytics. Consumption Analytics meters the utilization of that environment, and that now just becomes a part of the customer's GreenLake bill at the end of the month. So hopefully you've learned some things from this quick overview of GreenLake Central and how it can provide our GreenLake customers with a single portal to be able to manage and subscribe to consumption-based offerings from HPE. Thanks.